Beast Mode, what's good? What's good? Good morning, brother. Beast Mode, what's good? Let's get going. Zedric, what's good? Good morning to y'all. The first two in. Good morning, good morning. We talking quarterbacks today. Get on the screen here. Let's get this thing straight. How y'all feeling today? On this Tuesday. Harris Room Sports, what's good? Got my listening ears on. Let's go. Let's go. We talking quarterbacks today. Let's go. Let's fix this. Let's get this. Let's do this. All right, so y'all see it on the screen. Y'all see it on the screen. Excuse me. Next up, QB edition. This is week 7. I got my sound check good on my side. Let me clear up one more thing here on my phone, and then we ready to rock and roll. We ready to go. We are talking Ty Simpson. We talking Dante Moore. We talking Fernando Mendoza. We talking Dillon Gabriel. We talking Jaxson Dart. We're going to hit the film. We're going to see how the local media is talking about these guys. We're going to see if what the local media is saying matches what we see on film. We're going to put this whole thing together, and we're going to wrap it up, put a bow on it, send it off like a Christmas gift, making sure we got a clear understanding of who these quarterbacks are and what they are, especially Dillon Gabriel. Y'all might be surprised Flacco made the list. Yeah, because every once in a while, we're going to have to go back to Flacco and talk about his performance. I've been talking about Flacco on I've been talking about him on every show, talking about how they had a great scheme. And when I watched the TV copy of the Browns game, I think this is, let me make sure I word this right. This is the time where I've seen Kevin Stefanski give Dillon Gabriel the most answers on third down, which is going to be surprising because y'all know I'm always going at Kevin Stefanski. I'm always going at his play calling. I'm always going at, his scheme, lack of creativity. When we watch the third down plays from Dillon Gabriel this week, you're going to see he gave him some answers. You're also going to see him switch things up. Tendency breakers. You're going to see that a lot. He had Jerry Jeudy in the backfield. He had 2 running backs in the backfield. He ran mesh concepts just in case they were going to get caught in cover 1 man, which I've been calling for so long. He gave him answers on the wheel route off of the mesh, so he would have easy answers. Y'all want to know what the problem is? Dillon Gabriel couldn't get to the answers, unfortunately. Dillon Gabriel, he couldn't get to the answers, y'all. Kevin Stefanski gave him the answers. Dillon Gabriel couldn't get to it. It's a wild thing, man. It's a wild thing. Who knew that just a day ago I would be saying they got to fire everybody, and after watching the film, I would be saying he gave them some more answers in this game, but that don't change nothing. It's still fire everybody. Good morning, Marie. Good morning. Also, y'all see it. I got the subscribers only. They got to be subscribed for 5 minutes so we can make sure people just don't come in here playing games trying to throw off what we got going on. We got something great going on, and just to make sure, we can keep it the way we want it to be, they got to subscribe and wait 5 minutes. Right now it's looking like Dillon isn't taking what's given. Zedric, did you watch the All 22 already? Did you watch it already? I think you might have watched it. So we're going to start off with 3 videos. The first video is going to start off with Adam the Bull. He tried to create a narrative. Van, what's good? Streamlabs bot. Van is good people. He good here. Streamlabs bot. Van is good people. Don't be trying to take him out like that. Van is good people. Adam the Bull tried to start a narrative yesterday on UCSS. And he tried to start the narrative that why isn't Shedeur sitting with Dillon Gabriel? And I'm like, what's that have to do with anything? So he started asking people around the NFL. Basically, everybody told him nothing to worry about. But when you lack understanding, you can create these narratives and you need to be shut down. And people need to shut you down quickly when you start this stuff. That was wild work. This is where people who don't understand, they try to make something that's not and create stories because they don't know what's going on. So let's get to it. Let's not hold it up any further. Let's get this thumbnail off the screen. We got 3 videos for y'all. This is the first one. This is Out on the Bull. This is the tail end of him talking about the Shedeur thing, and it's going to go right into them speaking on Dillon Gabriel as a quarterback.
On it more in the Chiefs game this week to see if you know how often he goes and sits next to him. I'm just curious because I hadn't it was not something I really thought about, and until somebody brought it up to me. Do you have any recollection from your time in the league? Does like the backup generally sit next to the starter or not necessarily?
I think we're grasping at straws a little bit here because some places that I was at, they did. I think it depends on the relationship between the players.
Yeah.
And also, like you said, Flacco and Jake Browning. I mean, that's a 40-year-old, 18-year vet that Browning's trying to learn something from.
Right.
And not that Shedeur can't learn something from maybe a mistake or something that Dillon Gabriel did well, but I don't think he needs to be up his ass every second of the time during the game.
No, that's true. And the more I thought about it, and especially after hearing from a couple of the people that it wasn't that big a deal, then I was like, okay, I guess it's not. But I certainly didn't think it was an unfair question to ask. Right. And now we have our answer. And the answer is?
A lot of the times I don't agree with Dustin. He's on the right side of your screen. But I like the way he gave Bull no wiggle room to let this narrative grow legs. He just shut it down. Looking for reasons to try to justify his current standing. How does that determine someone's readiness? You're on to something. You're on to something. That's why I said this comes from a lack of understanding, because what's happening is they are seeing Dillon Gabriel for who he is, and they need answers because it doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. They're like, he's not looking good. They try to use weather. They try to use all these different things, and they need a reason why Shedeur is not playing right now because Dillon Gabriel ain't it. And instead of pushing it to Dillon Gabriel saying he's not performing, they blaming Shedeur when Shedeur ain't even in the game. It's wild work. It's wild work. But let's get to what I'm going to speed this up a little bit. They talk too slow for me. But let's get to what he says about Dillon Gabriel. And this is a narrative. I called this out right away. Y'all going to hear it.
It's not a big deal. It's not a deal, period. Speaking of Dillon Gabriel, I know it's very hard to evaluate how he's played through 3 games, and this game in particular, he was asked to do almost nothing. But what's your thought? I mean, 13 of 18 for 116 yards. I mean, I don't know how much we can evaluate that, but what's your thoughts on him and what you've seen through 3 weeks for Dillon Gabriel?
I mean, he's a rookie. He just sort of looks like a rookie. That game on Sunday was, torrential conditions. It was not ideal to the passing game. They've got a rookie running back that we all knew was probably going to touch the ball like 30-something times in that game, and he did, and it worked. So I don't think that there's much to glean from the performance in the box score of Dillon Gabriel to say that he's going to fail or going to be good or what have you. I think he did what the coaches asked of him to do, which is go.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
All right, so this is something that they're doing with Dillon Gabriel that just makes no sense. They're saying, man, the circumstances, we can't really grade or judge Dillon Gabriel. The problem is they said this same thing after the Pittsburgh Steelers game. They said this same thing after the Minnesota Vikings game. If you're really looking at quarterbacks, it's a couple things you can always judge. You can always judge their decision making. You can always judge if they got happy feet in the pocket, if they are following through their progressions. You can always judge if they work from a comfortable base, if their fundamentals are good. You can always grade those things. The problem is most of the things I just named have not been good for Dillon Gabriel. So they don't want to grade those things because then you have to call out exactly what you're seeing. So y'all saw the tap dancing. Y'all see it every week. Y'all hear it every week. Man, Dillon Gabriel just, he's in a tough spot. He threw the ball 50 sometimes in Pittsburgh. Tough spot, Pittsburgh. Every excuse you can make, they make. If you like that, you're going to be a great quarterback regardless of weather conditions. Beast, say it again. The problem is, if you play in Cleveland, the weather can be any way, any day. So and the weather is only going to get worse. So weather cannot be an excuse. You still have to go out there and perform. Weather is not the reason why he missed 2 wide open touchdowns this week. I'm going to show y'all later. Weather is not the reason why he missed 2 wide open touchdowns. I don't want to hear this weather stuff. He missed it because he is not reading the field and he's not seeing the field. Nothing to do with weather. That's our first batch of excuses. Let's keep this thing moving. Let's keep going forward. We're going to get some more. Who we got next?
We're breaking down.
Actually, we're going to save Jaxson for last. We're going to go Tyvis Powell. This is going to be Tyvis
Every
Powell.
game when we do a game on the Browns Radio Network during the postgame game.
All right, y'all see, I had this thing on chipmunk mode. My videos be some people talk so slow. I had stuff on 2.5 speed. Yeah, I had this one on 2.5 speed. I don't have time for this. Let me find a spot for y'all when Tyvis is going to start speaking on Dillon Gabriel.
You hear a number of fine voices.
You starting to get them, you motivate them to get you the ball back and get 3 and outs and things like
It's easier said than done, isn't it? And you said, yeah, but if you want to become a great defense, that they can become that upper echelon defense, not just a good defense.
that. 2 years ago when this defense was rocking, when they had.
What's up, Brent? Brent, would you tell them playing in Northeast Ohio, the weather is always going to have something to do with it, whether it's good or bad? You cannot make that as an excuse. If you start making that excuse now, you're going to use that excuse the entire rest of the year. So that's not going to work. You got to find a better excuse.
The number 1 defense in the NFL, including Alex Wright or Isaiah McGuire. Tried to throw a screen play. I think Dale Pitt might have been the one that hit it. It almost looked like it was a fumble. So they're getting home. This D-line and the pass rush and the guys that's blitzing.
Did you see Ohio State put some responsibility on saying he had 4 TDs, 350 yards, 80% completion rate? I noticed they had nothing to retort to Josina. Zedric, you know what it is. Are you talking about Julian Sand? Julian Sand is coming on well. Julian Sand is coming on really well. They're opening up the playbook for him. He is able to throw it to Cornell Tate because of what they're doing to take away Jeremiah Smith. So I'm always watching Ohio State. I don't have them as a team that I'm breaking down quarterback-wise every week, but I'm always watching Ohio State. That's my favorite. That's my favorite college team, so I'm always breaking them down.
Listen, they're getting home really, really fast. And if you can
where we go from here with this team, I got to believe they feel some good. So maybe for one day they take a deep breath, but
for a while nobody even wanted to bring that up. But you look at that AFC North and you see guys are going to get healthy. Maybe Mike Hall comes back, so they win the division. Come on now, it's right there. So it just gives you that win gave you that type of motivation. It's going to be very interesting to see what they do against New England next week.
Tyvis Powell joining us from the Browns Radio Network. Andy and I were kicking this around a little bit ago. Dillon Gabriel's made 3 starts. I don't have a real good feeling for him yet. Well, you look at things differently than we do, having played in the league. What have you thought of Dillon through 3 starts?
Dillon comes off to me as a right now the way he's playing. I understand that he could why people see him as a career backup quarterback, and that's no disrespect to him, but I like right now with the talent that's given around him, I understand why they see that at worst. So I think when you go in these draft process, you got to prepare for the worst, and the worst is if he doesn't pan out, at least you got you a backup quarterback, and he can definitely come in and do that. I mean, the way he can come in there, command that offense, get everybody in the right places, deliver the ball, protect the football. That to me, obviously is not nothing elite about him. Maybe mentally it might be, but as far as the physical traits goes, there's nothing elite about him. And I think that that's something that might come back to haunt him and later on. So I understand why people are frustrated and why I understand some people want to see, Shedeur in there. I still think Shedeur got some things he's got to work on, though, before.
All right, we're going to stop you, Tyvis, because you just start rambling there. What they want to do is they don't want to say Dillon Gabriel is not playing well. It's going to lead to Shedeur. Then going to Shedeur, they keep saying, I think he's not ready. Tyvis is not going to tell you how or why Shedeur is not ready. He's going to hit you with that thing I always told you they hit you with. They hit you with something that's not quantifiable. When they hit you with something that's not quantifiable, just know it's a lie. That's how I take it. Until proven otherwise, if you hit me with something that's not quantifiable, I'm calling it a lie. That's what I'm doing. When you're describing a person's performance, that's what I'm doing. So they say the same thing. He had the truth in there, but it took him 2 minutes to say Dillon Gabriel's not a franchise quarterback. He doesn't see anything elite. Basically, his ceiling is a backup. He said that, but he put so much fluff around it that you might get tired before he even got to the point of actually saying how he really feels about Dillon Gabriel. He's trying to protect it. Sayin is playing really well. I think he's gonna be a star for years to come. He's also going to have Jeremiah Smith another year. Ohio State is always getting good wide receivers. So just going forward, it's going to be good. There you go. Ready is just a meaningless word in Cleveland right now. That's a fact. Zedric was looking at my rundown, so he already knows. He watched Josina. It's a couple points that I'm going to hit with Josina when she's talking here. The first one. Let's see. I want to start here. I want to start at 329.
We did.
Actually, let's do this. Let me go a little bit before this because I want y'all to see the games they play on Cleveland radio. Let's start a little bit early.
We'd love to have come on and share her perspective, and she has her insider sources around the NFL and around sports in general. Josina mentioned Shedeur before we did in this segment. In fact, you mentioned him before Dillon Gabriel, the current starter.
That's dog food, y'all. That's dog food right there. We didn't mention Shedeur. She mentioned Shedeur. She mentioned Shedeur before we even spoke on Dillon Gabriel. He thinks he has a gotcha moment right here. He thinks I got her. National. She got a big name. I got her. Not so fast.
We not being fair in the city to Dillon Gabriel right now, the young starter and the Browns draft pick ahead of Shedeur Sanders.
Well,
y'all see all that extra sauce he put on that question? He put a whole bunch of sauce on it. She ain't falling for it, though.
I would say beyond whether the question is if you guys are being fair.
Look at that smirk. He feel real good. He thinks he got her right now. He's like, man, I set her up so good. He feeling real good about himself. It ain't gonna work, bro. It ain't gonna work. She too experienced for this. Let's go.
I think the process has been very fair to him relative to how Kevin Stefanski has rolled it out. When you think back to the preseason, the games that he played in, the opportunities he got, with the ones or what have you, the amount of snaps, the time. Obviously, he's starting now. So the process has been fair to Dillon, and that's great. It should be.
She said, I ain't new to this. I'm true to this. I'm not falling for that. Dillon Gabriel has been given every opportunity. As you notice, his demeanor, his facial expressions, it all changes. It all changes. Any other reporter comes on and they're very engaged and communicative. That word almost took me out there. With her, not so much. She was laughing in the background at most on the beginning opening he had. I did hear that. When they were doing her intro, she was laughing. And it seemed like she caught herself a couple times. But you see how quick his facial expression and his tone and everything changed? Dang, that didn't work.
But when you ask me if you guys are being fair, I think that, and this is not to take away from Dillon. I don't make a habit of trying to, not be equitable, fair, disrespectful or what have you. So Dillon is a good quarterback from what I can see. I can see why Kevin Stefanski likes him. He's, completed passes. He can operate an offense at the NFL level. I think the question still goes back to exactly what I asked on my timeline, which is Dillon Gabriel the long-term solution for the Cleveland Browns? And when he's on the field over the long term, when you're in games that have adverse situations, challenging situations, you're playing teams that are more elite, is this the quarterback that is going to inspire that, motivation, that confidence, that, aura that you want from your quarterback that kind of rises all boats. And I'm not sure that that's him. That doesn't mean.
She just killed the net with a sledgehammer. Did you see how uncomfortable he was the entire time she was speaking? He was sitting there. If initially he had the confidence, he said, man, I didn't set her up good. I thought about this question all night. Ever since they told us Josina Anderson was going to be on here, I had this setup question for her. She knocked it out the park, home run. She's looking like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. last night carrying Toronto to the World Series. That's what she looked like. And his whole demeanor change, Ken not even looking up. Ken just got his head down. Ken knew that wasn't going to work. He knew she was a vet. He knew she was a pro. He knew that this was not going to work. Whole demeanor change. Dillon's been given every opportunity to succeed. It doesn't matter how we talk about him. Kevin Stefanski gave him every opportunity. Now he got to sit there squealing. He can't even sit still. He like a kid that you put him in timeout for 5 minutes and you tell him, go sit in that corner and don't move for 5 minutes. That's how he's squealing in that chair because it did not work. He going to have to. Exactly. He knows exactly what he's trying to do. He knows exactly what he's trying to do. He's going to have to hold this L. That's going to be an L for you, Lima. It didn't work. And that's not all. She got more. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit, and we're going to get to when she starts speaking on Shedeur. What time stamp do I have? Let's start it a little bit early.
For him to, manage the way he's managing it so far. So to answer your question, I don't know because only Kevin Stefanski can tell you that. But
they asked her, when does she believe Shedeur Sanders will play? She just said, I don't know. That's up to Kevin. Now, this is where she's going to say something that I said a couple weeks ago, right when it happened.
But I did say on my Twitter, and I'll say this again on your show, as I said it on my Twitter, I did not appreciate the characterization of his game as being street ball. I think that is completely unfair. I don't think that was right. If you want to say he improvises, which is good, a quarterback should improvise because guess what? Plays break down after, the ball is snapped. But to characterize it as street ball, I think is beyond unfair.
Y'all know who she's talking about? She talking about good old Aditi. Aditi. When Aditi was talking about Shedeur playing street ball, and that's the reason why he's not playing right now. And that's when I went on a little mini rant, and I'm like, look, that's not cool. I'm like, you need the quarterback to make things happen when stuff breaks down. That is not street ball. When you have a person who does not understand the game of football, they use coded language. They use all these terms that make 0 sense. They make 0 sense. She is a boss. She handled him well. That is a fact, man. She did. She got them together real quick, early this morning. First thing this morning, she woke up and got them together. She set them straight for the rest of their day. Hey, play with yourself. Don't play with me. That's what she told them. So did anybody watch any of those football games last night? I did. I was out. I was working. I didn't get to see Baker lose to the Lions. I didn't get to see that game. I watched majority of the Seattle versus Texans game. Do y'all know what TJ Stroud needed in that game? He needed to play some street ball. And he needed to play street ball because their offensive line was bad. His offensive play caller wasn't giving him any answers, and he was not protecting the tackles. So he needed to improvise. That's the word that they need to use. Improvise. She's talking about Aditi and Mary Kay. I heard them both say it. Marie, you are correct. It's two people that don't understand the game of football because there are various times throughout a course of a game, the defense is going to win the rep, but it might be on the third down. It might be on fourth down when you're going for it. Let them tell it. You're playing street ball. It's not, you're improvising. So that comes from a lack of understanding. That's why they got to use words that they got to come up with words that they heard other people say a lot and just use those words. How many times has Aditi been in the middle of some mess this season and she's a sideline reporter? She is very responsible. She's supposed to be very responsible with how she uses her words. Why is she always in a situation where she's having a poor choice of words? Every 2 weeks, she's saying something crazy. So it just doesn't make sense. They don't know what they're looking for. If you look at let's look at the big four before the season started. The big four before the season started were Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and who am I missing? I said Patrick, Josh, Lamar, and Burrow. All of those guys have an ability to extend plays and improvise. Have you heard anybody nationally say that they are playing street ball? This whole leading into this year, you haven't heard anybody saying that. You want to know the last time nationally they were talking about somebody playing street ball? They were talking about Patrick Mahomes playing street ball after he won his first championship. They were saying, oh, this is street ball. This is street ball. And the reason why they were saying the street ball was because he was improvising and he was buying time so Tyreek Hill can get deep. So usually when they use coded language, it's because they have a lack of understanding. I think she got a little bit more. Let's see if it's anything else.
Josina Anderson with us right now. Well,
that was the last of it. They don't know what to do with this situation. They sitting here. You see, Ken ain't looked up the whole time. He ain't looked up the whole time. This is L on L on L. Most of the stuff that they do, most of the stuff they say is dog food. I use them as examples and talking points to explain my side of it because majority of the time they're taking the L. They're in the wrong. So let's move this thing forward. Let's get to some quarterbacks. Let's talk some quarterbacks. This is why we do this thing on Tuesday mornings. Tuesday mornings, we're talking quarterbacks. We're talking NFL quarterbacks. We're talking college quarterbacks. Just wanted to, give y'all a feel for what they're talking about when they're talking about these quarterbacks. We heard Tyvis say a lot of words and then eventually get to, I'm glad you're not gullible to all the Cleveland media BS. Yeah, it's Cleveland media and it's national media and the whole basis of my channel early, I was calling out all of them. Because there's just a lot of lack of understanding and a lot of messed up ways that they do things. So I always call them out. We heard Tyvis using all these extra words basically to say Dillon Gabriel ain't it. We heard Bull and Dustin Fox say it's hard to grade Dillon Gabriel. We can't really grade him on the 3 games. We heard Josina Anderson say it very plainly. We don't know if he is the guy when you have adversity, if he can lift the team. A couple weeks ago, I said he's a cog in the wheel. He is not the wheel. I get the craziest comments on my TikTok. On my TikTok, somebody alluded to Shedeur. I said, look, man, you tripping. I speak on Shedeur so much. You don't have to take when I'm critiquing Dillon Gabriel to mean Shedeur. I'm just, everybody is saying it. Everybody sees it. If you watch any level of football and then you watch the Cleveland Browns offense and you're telling me you believe Dillon Gabriel can get them to the next level, then I just don't know what you understand about football because he's not the guy to do that. And she said that plain and clear. And also she made a point to bring up Dillon Gabriel had every opportunity going into this season because that can't be forgotten. He got all the reps. He was always getting the first team reps before the vets got there in the rookie camp. Training camp, he was getting reps with the ones. So we're not hearing it for the excuses. But let's get to the quarterbacks. Let me adjust this. Let's get something on the screen for y'all. Let's see. Let's go here. Josina Anderson got them together early in the morning. I enjoy seeing their faces. She was talking. That's a fact. That is a fact. You saw when he was doing the setup question, he was all giddy. He was excited. He was happy. She put them together, wrapped them up, put a bow on it, put them under the Christmas tree, and said, we'll see you later on. And they just sitting there. Whole demeanor change. Entire demeanor change. Let's get to these quarterbacks. Let's make sure let me clean some of this up on the back end.
Differently than we do, having played in the league.
Let's get rid of some of this stuff. All right, so this is week 7. We're going by weeks in the NFL, not weeks in college football. College football is ahead of the NFL, started first. First person on the board is going to be Carson Beck. First person on the board is Carson Beck. Let me read over Carson Beck's stats, then I'm going to jump back on the screen. Carson Beck, 25 of 35, 271 yards, 4 interceptions. He just had a horrible game. Let me get back on the screen. Here we go. I'm back. All right. These are my notes. I got a lot of notes for Carson Beck. Man, it was a rough game for him. Beck 4 interceptions is crazy. So when I'm watching these games, I'm looking at how these quarterbacks handle adversity. I'm looking at how they handle the defense throwing different schemes at them. Ken for sure says more with the Dede. It's a fact. It's going to take the Browns wide receivers publicly say we tired of mediocre and medicine balls. I think the vets are really close to being there. I think that based on how this weekend goes, they could start using that leverage and go to the front office and say, hey, this ain't it. We got to change. We need something different. So I could definitely see that happening. I can see it happening after this week. So I'm watching Carson Beck early in the game. What I'm noticing is with these young quarterbacks, if you show them man-to-man, if you show them cover one, they have the answers. They got all the answers on man-to-man and cover one. So it was the second drive of the game that led to a TD for Miami. They had cover one. They showed the single high safety. They had their identifiers to show that it was man coverage. Louisville was in man coverage. They had Tony to the left of the screen. He was in the slot. So they were running, it looked like they were running a smash concept that Kevin Stefanski run. Outside receiver is going to run a 5-yard hitch and turn around and show his numbers. The slot receiver is going to run a out route. They switched off of that, and once they saw that single high safety, they switched it to a smash fade. When they ran that smash fade, he's just working outside to the numbers. Tony is, and he's getting behind the defender. Carson Beck throws a great ball. So Carson Beck was cool when he was looking at man coverage. He was looking at cover one, identified the safety. They said, you know what? Let's switch it up. Let's see if he can deal with zone coverage. If y'all know, whenever I'm talking about Jaxson Dart, I'm talking about college quarterbacks throwing interceptions. Most of it happens on zone plays. They just don't have the answers for when somebody is giving them zone. So this is also a concept that the Cleveland Browns need to add versus cover one, but they got to get speed in the slot, not a tight end. But because it's a concept that Kevin Stefanski liked to run. Beck was bound to come back to earth. It was still a winnable game before he threw that last one. That is a fact. Carson Beck was nervous. I'm telling y'all, man, I just got something in my stomach with Carson Beck. I'm trying to get over it when he has good games, but the back of my mind always tells me he has games like this that are just waiting. They're just waiting to happen. So on his first interception, they were in cover 3. Tony got behind the defense. He was slow to the read. He underthrew him. The safety came over, smacked it. Interception. Second interception. The defense won the rep. The problem was they had the running back stay in to chip. The running back was not his outlet if he didn't have anywhere to go downfield. Instead of just saying, man, we lost this rep, trying to scramble, run forward, get a couple yards, live to see another down. He was nervous, like Harris is saying, and he threw it up in the coverage. Easy interception. Georgia Carson Beck came back. That's a fact. This looked like Georgia. Beck has never played a real opponent. So far, I would say he hasn't really played a real opponent. Notre Dame is not the team we thought. So I agree with you there, Harris. They started to do some things. They started building some quick screens. So y'all know Malachi Tony, the receiver for Miami, true freshman, number 10, is one of my favorite wide receivers in college because he's balling so early. They threw him a screen, 61 yards. They couldn't get it in a touchdown. They got a field goal after that. His third interception, he forced it across the middle. The wide receiver tipped it up in the air, tip drill. Anytime it's a tip drill, that's easy pickings for a defense. But what happened to Carson Beck was when they switched from showing cover one and cover 3 kind of mirror each other because you got similar responsibilities, and you can tip off, you can throw off the quarterback. That's what happened to Carson Beck. Carson Beck was there. He didn't know where to go or how to beat cover 3 coverage. And they didn't do him any favors by calling any cover 3 beaters. Now they could have ran an all-go play and his running back coming out of the backfield being his check down if it wasn't there. They never got to nothing like that, and it cost him, and he threw those 4 interceptions. So Carson Beck, back to where he should be, I guess, at the bottom of the mountain. That's Carson Beck for y'all. Let's see who we got next on the mountain. All right, let's get this adjusted. Next up, I don't know who was saying this in my chat, but it just stuck with me. We got Dillon Gabriel. We got Lil Bit. Somebody was calling him Lil Bit. I thought that was real funny. We got Dillon Gabriel. Now, initially, when I saw the TV copy of the game, I was looking at Dillon Gabriel. Let me give y'all his stats. Everybody knows him. 13 for 18, 116 yards, 2 sacks. Initially, when I watched the game with Dillon Gabriel, from the TV copy, watching it live, y'all saw me speaking on it live, I was like, he didn't hurt the team. He didn't hurt the team. And I was like, oh, you give him a C, passing grade, he showed up. When I started watching the key downs, y'all know my favorite down to watch is third down. That's when the quarterback has the most pressure within the game, within a series, within a drive. So I like to go back to third downs. Third downs tell you the story to me. When I saw him on third down have the answers and him not be able to get there, I'm downgrading Dillon Gabriel's game to a D. And when I show y'all the all 22, you're going to see, we're going to watch 9 plays on third downs. He has answers. He missed 2 easy walk-in touchdowns, and it's because he's not seeing and reading the field. Even when they're giving him all the keys. They're giving him all the keys. They're giving him late motion. They're setting it up for him. He cannot see it. He cannot see it. I don't know who started this supercomputer stuff with Dillon Gabriel with his processing. I'm going to look into it when I get some time, probably on the Browns bye week, and we got to let them know how wrong they were. His issues are processing and his inability to see the whole field, and also he cannot roll right. And I remember very specifically Kevin Stefanski saying we did not see any issues with him rolling to his right or rolling to his left. He can do both the same. That was false. He cannot roll to his right and throw an accurate pass to save his life, not even 3 yards down the field. It's so bad, they just need to stop rolling him to his right. It's that bad, y'all. He can't do it. We're going to see who called him a processor, and we're going to see who said he had athleticism, and we're going to see who said he was accurate. Because are y'all seeing an accurate passer when y'all see Dillon Gabriel drop back? He's struggling in areas that I'm not sure Kevin Stefanski will pull him out of. There you go. There you go. The people who watch the game film, you're going to hear them today. They are going to be hypercritical of Dillon Gabriel after they watch the game film today. So last night, the game film was out. Oh, it was Mary Kay who started that processor? Yeah, we're going to see, because that person was so wrong, it's not even funny. When the first night, when you rewatch it, you can rewatch it, but you can't skip and go to certain plays and all that stuff. So you got to rewatch it the slow way. You basically got to rewatch the whole game. But after 2 days, you get to watch it and go to certain plays and stuff like that. But as people watch this game film, we're going to pay attention to who defends Dillon Gabriel after this. Marie, I agree. DG is not accurate. He is not accurate. He is not accurate. I don't know who told these lies. Whoever told these lies, we got to expose them, because to me, this is probably his worst processing game. And I'm going to tell y'all why. He's going against a team that's falling apart and crumbling before our eyes. This is when you really run up the score. This is when you really get those stats up. This is when you really put your mark on the game. Kevin Stefanski made this thing look respectable for him. Y'all was here with me on Sunday when they were passing the ball at the end of the game. I'm like, what are they doing? I'm like, why are they not? When Miami started using his timeouts, I'm like, why are they not running the ball? They should be burning the clock. They were not doing that. So, hey, y'all gonna see it. She was going off and off about what was told to someone has to answer for it. I agree. Somebody has to answer, because everything they told us he was athletic. Does Dillon Gabriel look athletic to y'all? They told us Shedeur was not athletic. And they said Dillon Gabriel was a more athletic one. I never saw that in college. I know that in college they did run the read option for him, so he would run, but lanes was wide open. He was never out running people or anything like that. So they would run the read option, but it wasn't primarily what they ran. So to me, everything they said about Dillon Gabriel was a lie. Everything. Let's keep it going on the mountain. This was a game to get him going and build his confidence. Think that's why he looked so deflated. You're on to something. Shout out to Beast for telling me to play that play his post-game press conference because I had it. It was something I noticed. I was like, this does not look like a person who just won a game. And I think it's because the pressure is mounting and he understands how bad he's playing in the moment. And he looked defeated. He looked tired. He had bags under his eyes. Wasn't that because Kevin Stefanski was padding his stats? Yes. Kevin Stefanski definitely was padding his stats. He had 55 yards going into the second half. And I was calling it out. And then at the end of the game, he got him some quick, easy throws. And I'm like, what are we doing here? You should be burning the clock, wasting the clock. You're leaving more time, so you have to send your defense back on the field. Winning teams normally don't do that. Winning teams burn the clock. They're not worried about stats, making a guy's game look better, or these side quests and trying to build up a guy's confidence. When you're trying to do that during the game, you are putting that person before the entire team. Everything they told us Shedeur was, they were trying to do that for Dillon Gabriel, and it's not working. It's not working at all. So, who we got next up on the board? Let's go back to the board. Next up, we got Jaxson Dart. Now, this was a very entertaining game. Very entertaining game. I watched this whole game. I was watching it live. This is after the stream. I was like, man, this is something else. This is back and forth. Jaxson Dart, 15 for 33, 283 yards, 3 TDs, 1 interception. He was sacked 4 times. Now let's get to my notes on this game. And also, I have to answer to the question on Cleveland Browns quarterback, the last one that was drafted to actually sign a second contract. It's actually sad once I really looked into it. It's sad. For the most part in this game, Jaxson Dart was being Jaxson Dart. Jaxson Dart is not a perfect passer. He's going to hover right around that 50% efficiency. Not the most efficient, but that's where he's going to be. That's where he's been game to game. They start rolling in this game. He got failed by a bunch of things. He failed them with his late interception where they dropped back in the zone. He threw the ball directly to the middle linebacker. Everything to the middle line. I mean, directly to the middle linebacker. It was poor. It was a bad pass. He shouldn't have made it. Everything was a referendum on Kevin Stefanski-based choices since the draft. That's a fact. That's a fact. That's why I always go so hard on Kevin Stefanski. He don't get a pass for none of this. Jaxson Dart, when he threw that interception, the game was 26-16. It was under 5 minutes to go, and they just started melting. They were melting. You watching the end of this game, you're like, Denver's gonna win this game. Bo Nix getting it done. This is the biggest mistake they made in that game. 40 seconds left. The Giants had 1 timeout. The Broncos had no more times out. They ran the Jaxson Dart draw play up the middle. They scored too fast. What I would have did was I would have ran the ball and I would have said, hey, get down before going into the touchdown by the 1 yard line. Let's chew some more of this clock off because they don't have time. I would have given them less time. They didn't do that. He got right in 33 seconds. Field goal kicker. Why they important? Misses the extra point. Now, a field goal kick, you can lose the game. Defense was terrible on that last drive. They kept giving them deep outs so they can stop the clock. They gave up 1 pass across the middle. They had to clock it 1 time, and they were able to drive the length of the field. It was a disaster. This is a game that will get a coach fired. This is a game that kills all momentum that they have. We're putting Jaxson Dart in, and this could be the beginning of the end of Brian Daboll. I saw some Carson Wentz pre-injury highlights last night, and some of the throws look like what Dart is doing now. Yeah, pre-injury, before they won that Super Bowl, Carson Wentz was looking all right. He was looking all right. He was on pace to potentially be MVP pre-injury. I think with him, it was more mental. He didn't have the belief in the locker room. They started to believe in someone else as a quarterback, and it was just fractured from there. He could never get it back. He could never return it to what it was before that. He couldn't do it. All right, let's get to the next quarterback. Kyler's not here, but this is Kyler's boy, Dante Moore. Dante Moore, I really wanted to see how Dante Moore bounced back from them losing the game the previous week, him throwing 2 interceptions. So, they were playing Rutgers. Rutgers, before the game, is 3-3, not that much competition. Dante Moore was 15 to 20, 290 yards, 4 TDs, 1 interception. He bounced back with confidence. He's calm in the pocket. Those are some things that I like about him. He's not really forcing it too much. One thing that is weird to me is they were up big. I think they were up 48 or 49-3 at the end of this game. They still had him throwing the ball. Oh, I got it right here in my notes. Moore was still in halfway through the third quarter. They were leading 49-3, and he threw an interception, first and goal from the 20 after they took a penalty. At that point, get your young guys some reps. This game is over. Why are you putting him in? Why are you keeping him doing this? But it wasn't close, but I like the way that Dante Moore bounced back. So that was a plus. I like his pocket presence. I like his demeanor. I like the energy that his team plays with. The guys are happy to make plays for him. And then also I was talking about Sadiq. Sadiq, the tight end, number 18, is just something else, man. He's just like a little muscle. Y'all ever see certain guys where they live in the gym? You can tell that is Sadiq. He's going to be really good at the next level if he keeps it up, especially getting his blocking down. So Dante Moore, he is a slight knock for his interception, but nothing too crazy. They beat Rutgers. He handled business. I like what he did. A lot of off-platform throws. Yes. I think one of Jaxson Dart's best throws was when he dropped back, he stepped up, went to his left, went to his right, started running forward, and threw it a great pass. I think number 17. I can't remember the wide receiver's name, but he did that. So Jaxson Dart definitely could throw off platform. So he's good at that. Definitely like, comment, and subscribe. Shout out to you, Marie. I appreciate that. Hit that like button, man. People need to see this. People need to hear this. They need to hear this breakdown because this is essentially a quarterback diary. I'm doing this every week, really breaking down how these quarterbacks do so they're not able to feed the lies like they did going into the 2025 draft. 2025 draft, they pulled Tyler Shuck out of nowhere. He can't even get on the field. They pulled, they had quarterbacks highly rated. They dropped them down. Supposedly, this is the better quarterback class. It's not panning out. Shout out to Emory Hunt. Emory Hunt called it out very early and said whenever they don't want to evaluate the guys in this class, they say next year's class is better, and it's never the case. Emory Hunt has been covering college football, I think, for like 13 to 14 years, so he has a lot of experience with the draft and how they do it, and he called this out in real time early, so shout out to him for that. Next up, Fernando Mendoza. Fernando Mendoza, they played Michigan State. Let's get his stats up here for y'all. He was 24 of 28, 333, 4 touchdowns. He had a couple runs that were good. He's not the most athletic, but he keeps the defense honest with his running. So I think that's good and smart on him. I'm gonna keep this real short. Fernando Mendoza has been the most consistent big name quarterback this year from beginning to end. He is 6'5". He can attack every blade of grass on the field. He's also calm in the pocket. He's not frantic. He's rarely sped up. Tyler Shuck look a mess at the combine. His throws were funny and trash at the same time. Facts. That one where he is throwing it to the tight ends and he throws it and it's kind of back and back. It was a mess. I guess you get more points for going to the combine and looking trash than not going to the combine at all because they wanted to hold it against Shedeur for not throwing. But they said, hey, Tyler Shuck, he actually threw even though he was trash, but we gonna say it's good. I'm not fully sold on Mendoza, but I see why he's highly rated. I would agree with that. You're gonna need a certain level offensive line for Mendoza. Same thing with Ty Simpson. Because these guys are used to standing in the pocket and scanning the field and not really having to get off their spot that often. So it's going to be very, very important the teams that they go to have something figured out for offensive line or a very creative play caller because that is what they're doing. They're sitting in the pocket. They're breaking down these teams. They're picking them apart. They can attack any part of the field. This game was practice. This looked like 7-on-7. Michigan State scored some early, but it was never a doubt. It was never competitive. It was never really close, even though the score might suggest that they put some points up early. The way that Indiana's offense was playing in this game, it was never a doubt. I can understand the apprehension when it comes to Fernando Mendoza. He's not very thin, but he's on the thinner side. So you wonder if he goes to a team and he starts taking hits, how that'll have an impact on him in the NFL. What we got up next? And at the top of the board this week, we got Ty Simpson, y'all. We got Ty Simpson. I watched highlights of him previously. I started to hear his name. A lot of people started to speak on him. And I said, you know what? I'm going to watch Ty Simpson and see what he's about. I'm going to watch him. These are his stats. 19 of 29, 253, 2 touchdowns. I watched every snap of this game. And let's get to my notes. Harris Room, I know you're ready for this one. I know this is the one you've been waiting for. All right, these are my notes. This is the first time I watched every play from him. He can make all the throws. He has a certain level of athleticism that he can take advantage of teams who don't expect it. He stands in the pocket. He's only played in 27 games too. That's not bad. My number that I want to see him go past the 25 mark. So that's not a bad number for him to be at. Can make all the throws. I'm sorry, I read that already. Ty separating himself from the pack. I agree with that. Made some great throws on both first half TD drives. I like the fact that he stands in the pocket. He is not anxious in the pocket. One thing y'all gonna see in Dillon Gabriel is Dillon Gabriel has happy feet in the pocket. His feet is all over the place. He bouncing, he jumping, he twitching, he doing all this stuff that doesn't make sense. You don't see that with Ty Simpson. He keeps his eyes downfield and is always looking for a play to develop. Him and Fernando Mendoza have that in common. They both are always looking downfield. This is something that they did versus Tennessee that I like. They ran a true hurry-up offense in the first half, especially on those first 2 drives, to not let Tennessee sub out on defense. It was very smart of them to do to wear down their defensive line, especially. They ran a true hurry-up. They didn't sub any guys. So I thought that was really good, really smart thing to do early to kind of get the defense holding their hands on their hips, taking the knee in between plays. I thought it was a really smart approach. He seems to be, I don't know this yet because I haven't watched him enough, but he seems to be making changes at the line of scrimmage. He seems to be making audibles or at least calling out the Mike linebacker. And when he's calling out the Mike linebacker, they're doing that so they can set the protection so they know who's blocking who. So he seems to be doing that. So I think that's a plus. Garrett Nussmeier is the only other quarterback who I've seen doing that. And that means they're actually truly reading the defense. They're looking at defensive keys and understanding what's in front of them. So I think that's a plus. I think that's a big plus. Those are the only 2 guys I've seen doing that. He never looked confused. When they were from zone or they disguised the zone or they were in man, they started looking zone, went to man. He was never confused when he dropped back. He always had a good feel for what to expect. And I think that's a plus because that means when you go to the NFL level, they can start teaching you, if you already know how to identify if it's zone or man and potentially what it could be, they can start teaching you how to beat zone and man in those situations. So I think that's a big plus for him. Whenever you get a chance to look at his previous 4 games, the only loss that he had was the only QB that has played against top-ranked defenses almost every week. Okay, I'm definitely going to check him out. I was impressed with what I saw this week. The thing about Lanoriss Sellers, QBs, they're asking way too much for him, or LSU has 145 passing first downs, only 45 rushing. Yeah, Garrett Nussmeier, he was close on the list, but I think that they should be winning more games when they have more talent around him. So that's my knock on Garrett Nussmeier. That's why I bumped him off, because they should be winning more with the talent that they have. So it was good. One knock on Ty Simpson, he did almost have an interception on the screen pass where the D-line made a great play. And it was actually like back-to-back plays. The D-line swatted the ball down. So that was the only thing. The defense did win a rep against him. It was cover 1 where they switched it to cover 3 post snap. But they got confidence. They're letting him throw the ball down the field. Also, when they're backed up to the touchdown, that's when you see if a team has confidence. So when the touchdown is close and you're backed up to the touchdown, his team had no hesitation with letting him run plays and call the game like they always called it, whether they were backed up to the touchdown or at midfield. I think that's a big plus. He had one play I didn't like in the fourth quarter. 3rd and 2, he threw it late across his body to the tight end and was almost picked off. That's the other negative thing I saw from him. But for the most part, it was 95% good that I saw. So I'm very encouraged. Carson Beck is holding on to stay on this board. He's holding on by a thread. Not really there, but I'm liking what I'm seeing from Ty Simpson. I'll do a little bit more research and digging into him, like how many games he's played, where he's played, throws, and how many interceptions he's thrown, sacks. I gotta dig into that more. Somebody asked a great question yesterday. They said, what was the last Cleveland Browns quarterback to be drafted by the Cleveland Browns and signed to a second contract? Not a 5th-year option, but signed an extension/second contract. So this is very unfortunate, and this shows you the state of the Browns. No Browns quarterback since 1999 that was drafted by the Cleveland Browns has signed a second contract extension. Baker, he was drafted number 1 overall. They picked up his 5th-year option, but he didn't sign again after that. Tim Couch, you got to go before that. Tim Couch, drafted in 99. They offered him an extension. He politely declined and said, get me up out of here. So the last quarterback was Bernie Kosar. That's just a disaster. Let me get to it. That tells you more about these Cleveland Browns. That tells you more about them. Bernie Kosar signed a second contract with the Cleveland Browns. He was drafted in 85. He signed his contract extension in 89, and he was waived in 93, the last year of his deal. You have to go back to 1989. 1989 for the last Browns quarterback to sign a second contract that they drafted. And they got Bernie in a supplemental draft. So that tells you the Browns have been like this. Real long time. Close to the train going off the rails for Beck. Yeah, I'm seeing that. I'm giving him 1 week to see how he bounces back. He doesn't bounce back well, I'm dropping him off the board if Beck doesn't bounce back. So for everybody who just is hard to wrap their hands around how bad the Browns have been, that's how bad they've been. And it wasn't that they haven't drafted any other quarterback since then. You know what? Let's do this. Let me do this. I did take a picture of it, so I'm going to add this in real quick so I can show y'all what the Browns have done since 1999. Let's get it. Let's add this in. Let's not talk about it. Let me show y'all. All right, so it's a little funky on the screen. Almost 40 years is crazy. So the Browns drafted. I got it up on the screen for y'all, and then I'm going to keep it up so I can just read it off for y'all. This is, when you really look at what the Cleveland Browns have been, this shows you how bad it is. All right, let's go through it, y'all. Let's go through it. 1999, they drafted Tim Couch. No second contract. Spurgeon Wynn in 2000. Luke McGowan in 2004. Charlie Fry, 2005. Brady Quinn, 2007. Colt McCoy, 2010. Brandon Whedon, 2012. Johnny Manziel, 2014. Cody Kessler, 2016. Deshaun Kaiser, 2017. Baker Mayfield, 2018. He got the 5th-year option. DTR in 2023. He is out of the NFL right now. Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. There you go. There you have it. That is the Cleveland Browns, my friends. That is the Cleveland Browns. So it's not that they are not drafting quarterbacks. They are taking it. They are taking attempts and swinging, trying to get it done. They're just not capable of getting it done. That is what's happening. They are incapable of getting it done when it comes to the quarterback. So a lot of people ask about it, and I told y'all I was going to look it up and find the answers for y'all. I found the answers. It's ugly. It's ugly. Let's get to some game film. Let's check out Dillon Gabriel. They called the Browns the factory of sadness. And the Browns, they're not doing themselves any favor with how they do things. No favors at all. Let's get to it. This is going to be the first play where Dillon Gabriel, man, you do have this. Why are you saying this to me? You're going to tell me you don't have to play. I watched the play. Now let's go back to the last play. We got 9 plays. This first play for Dillon Gabriel. Let's get it a better view for y'all on the screen. So this is 3rd and 5, 2 minutes, 24 seconds left in the first quarter. This is where Dillon Gabriel is going to miss the first touchdown. It's going to be very important for y'all to see it from this view. I want y'all to focus your attention to the center of the screen, right below the numbers where you see the 10. He is going to get keys to show that this is going to be man coverage. They're going to run a pseudo pick play because they know that a linebacker has to come all the way across the field to cover the running back out of the backfield. They designed this thing up good. This is one of the answers Kevin Stefanski gave him. He gave him this play because if they're in man, one of our guys will run away. Or I'm sorry, if they're in man, we always got the running back we can throw it to out the backfield. If they're in zone, we got our guys crossing where we can catch one of those guys open. Let's check it out. I'm going to pause it so y'all can see how quick he should get to this. Because what people are going to do is with this play, they're going to say, man, he didn't have time. Look at the left tackle get blown up. And that's not going to be true. Man indicator. Pause it. Pause it right here. Linebacker is on your screen, he's to the right of the 2 Cleveland Browns wide receivers. He has to get over to defend Jerome Ford coming out of the backfield. Jerome Ford is going to run wide open. Dillon Gabriel's looking that way. He's not going to make the throw until late. Let's let it play. I'm going to pause it, throw it, throw the ball, throw it, throw the ball. He's not throwing the ball. That is his answer. That is his answer. Jerry Jeudy got knocked down. He's running. The Dolphins defenders' backs are to Jerome Ford running towards the touchdown. He's not throwing the ball. He's looking that way, and he's not throwing the ball. So now we have to question, does he fully know what this play call is? We've seen Dillon Gabriel run to the wrong side on play action and bootleg plays. So I have to question, does he know what the running back is doing here? Everything said this is man coverage. Everything screamed man coverage. They gave him a pre-snap motion, man. Right when the play starts, man. He comes out the backfield, wide open. Let's let it play. Look at how long it takes him to get to that play. You are correct. Jerry Jeudy was not the read there. Jerry Jeudy was not the read once they identified it was man coverage. The read was the running back first because the entire play is designed to get the running back open. The play had the answers. Let's start it over. I'm going to let it play straight through so y'all can see in real time how he never gets to Jerome Ford. Let's let it play. Never gets to him. Let's look at the back view. When they show the back view, so y'all can see, people are going to blame this on the left tackle. He has too much time before the left tackle gets fully beat to make this throw, or he steps up in the pocket. He does neither. He didn't step up in the pocket. He could have stepped up. He didn't step up. He just stood in one spot. He's not moving. Had to read early. They showed you his man coverage. 25 is trying to get to the running back. Remember when I showed y'all the other angle? He can throw the ball right now. He is not doing it. He is not releasing it. He threw it super late. That's one touchdown. That's off the board. That's one touchdown. He had answers. He couldn't get to it. This is, let me tell you all the situation. 3rd and 11. This is on Cleveland 47-yard line. This is zone. I see why Stefanski didn't want Flacco going yet. It wasn't this many answers in previous games. This is the first game where I'm seeing answers, and I think Kevin Stefanski allowed more influence from Tommy Rees on this game because this does not look like the answers that they were given previously on third downs. We've watched them on third downs, and they weren't given answers like this. They weren't given these answers. Zone coverage. They gave him, they chipped on both sides of the field to help out the tackles, to give him more time for guys to get further downfield. He's going to make a good read here, get it to Harold Fannin. Harold Fannon's going to make a play for the first down. They weren't going heavy in the flat, so he knew he could set him up, get it to the flat. They won that down. That was a win. But the Browns were 4 for 11 on third downs, which is not good. Do y'all remember during the preseason, they told us Dillon Gabriel's so good on third downs. He's so good on third downs. It's not bearing out in the regular season. Let's watch it. One thing that I'm noticing, Dillon Gabriel does not move off his spot. Wherever he drops back to, he don't move left, he don't move right, he don't step up. He just dropped to a spot and he just sit in that spot. And that's another reason why he can't really see the full field. Let's get the next play. This is going to be, I believe he has Jerry Jeudy coming out of the backfield. So they get creative. We haven't seen Jerry Jeudy in the backfield yet. This is Jerry Jeudy, I believe, coming out the backfield. And this is 3rd and 8. Let's get the play. We're going to pause it right away to see if we go zone or man. This looks like zone. He could dress up Dillon in the preseason due to the quality of competition. Can't do that now. That is a fact. I got a question for y'all. The Minnesota game, they said it was Dillon Gabriel's first start. The Pittsburgh game, they said the offensive line was trash. What is one thing y'all haven't heard them say after this start for Dillon Gabriel? Have you heard anybody talk about the offensive line? Has anybody, out of all the stuff you consumed regarding the Cleveland Browns, has anybody said the offensive line is trash? The offensive line failed them. Nobody has said that. That's why I always push back when people just blame the offensive line. That's an excuse. It's always an excuse. Nobody said nothing about the offensive line in this game. Dillon Gabriel was sacked in this game. Nobody said the offensive line let him down. Nobody said that. Let's go. What's our next play? 3rd and 12, 3 minutes, 15 seconds left to go. Second quarter. They look like they're showing pressure. They send, it looks like 6. Let's see. No, they send 5. Yeah, they send 5. I believe he's going to have an opening across the middle of the field here. He just doesn't let it go. He just gets to the top of his drop. He starts bouncing. Could have easily been a safety. Let's take it back. They send 5. You got 5. You got a running back there. Longer third down. They chipped on both sides because the running back stayed in. The tight end chipped to give you more time. Let's go here. They only get critiqued in losses. That's a fact. He had an answer. His answer is coming open. He just looking down the field. Just looking down the field. We got very lucky that this wasn't a safety. Very lucky this wasn't a safety. He doesn't move. Watch this drop back. He don't get to the top of his drop. He don't go left. He don't go right. He just drop in the middle. Look at this. I ain't going nowhere. They're lucky that they called those holding. They called that holding outside the touchdown because that was supposed to be a safety. He just dropped back. Yeah, just drop back. Let's see what we got. We got Jerome Ford in the backfield. We got the tight end on the right side chipping. They're sending 5. You got 7 guys blocking up front. We're seeing no athleticism. We're not seeing him move in the pocket. He's just dropping back. He's just sitting duck. 3rd and 8. This is when the game is in the balance. It is 24-6. You know this thing is done for. 3rd and 8. Let's see what he does. He has empty backfield, but they got the running back and tight ends offset to help chip if they send a lot of pressure. Let's see what they do. They send 6. The tight end doesn't chip. They are all reading Dillon's eyes, so they're all looking in the backfield. I'm guessing this is zone. And he throws it. I don't think this was a bad play. He could have got here to the top of the screen, to that deep dig. But he's going to get the tight end. The tight end is going to catch the ball, drop the ball. That should be a first down. That's on the tight end. I don't know what he was doing there. Watching this game back, I realized people that just want to trade David Njoku because we got Harold Fannin, man, it get real ugly once you go past Fannin. This tight end should not be playing and drop the ball. Are y'all seeing any issues due to wind? This is 3rd and 6. 3rd and 6 here. Are y'all seeing the ball get carried to different places because of the wind? Everybody who's defending Dillon Gabriel on X is saying, man, 50-mile-an-hour winds. Are y'all seeing that? We've even seen people post videos from the games where they're showing the flags and showing that the wind is not blowing like that. That was the forecast. Forecast doesn't always turn out to what actually happens. So we got people defending it. Let's see what we get here. Send a guy in motion. They're trailing across. Let's see if they send a blitz. They do. All right, so we got 1, 2, 3. They send 6. They drop back 5. Dang, we only got 3 people on routes here. He finally moves. He throws to Jamari Thrash to his left. We're not going to see no completions with him rolling to his right, making a completion. His roll to his right, he can't throw the ball. Roll to his left, I said that very early in the process. I said a left-handed quarterback is going to be able to throw more comfortably rolling to his left. Dropped it right in there for him. Nope, he even said it was an issue. There you go. When you are making excuses for people that they're not making for themselves, you know it's a problem. All right, we have 3rd and 21. Oh, crap. Because usually that's when you try to beat them with a screen. That's a safe play. It's okay. 3rd and 12. Let's see what we got. This is zone. Nobody runs with Judy when he comes in motion. Everybody is going to get to their zones, and they're reading the quarterback's eyes. He threw the underneath early when it looks like, I don't know if it's Judy or is that Bond that's going to come up in. So on this play should have went a little bit deeper. Let's get it so y'all can see it. You're putting this defender right here, number 23 in conflict. You're high-low in that defender. He has time in the pocket. He just went to the low. And remember, we're trying to get up here to the 32-yard line. He just went to the low defender. He rarely takes the high man when they high-low a defender. He rarely. This is Dillon Gabriel's going to be sacked. This is 3rd and 7. Let's see what defensive coverage we have. Like a 2. They got 2 high shell. Let's see. All right, that's cover 2 man. They're running. And I don't know what he's doing back here. I don't know what he's doing back here. Cover 2, man, you're going to try to catch guys the same way he'd be cover 1, running away from the defense or to the middle of the field. He just back there. He moved a little bit, slid to his right. He don't feel comfortable throwing right. So at that point, you knew he wasn't going to throw the ball. It's not looking good. Yeah, I thought the play was going to show up where he misses. So the same mesh play that they ran early for Jerome Ford, they ran that exact same play with Quinshon Judkins in the game near the goal line, and he couldn't get him the ball. Dillon actually ran. I can find it let me go to when Dillon Gabriel runs the ball. It's only 4 plays. I think it was in the red zone. I think this is the play right here. Let's see if it's it. I believe this is the play. So this is the same play that they ran for Jerome Ford. Now they're running the same play for Quinshon Judkins. They're doing some stuff to beat tendencies. So usually Jerome Ford is in, throw, Quinshon Judkins in, run. They're trying to do some tendency breakers. So let's see if we get the same look with man. I like this concept. Look at Quinshon Judkins. He just don't want to throw it. He don't want to throw it. Even now, throw it. Quinshon's like, hey, throw me the ball. You're going to see as Dillon is scrambling, Quinshon is like, throw the ball. Quinshon Judkins is your best offensive player. Throw the ball. Basically, they're clearing out this whole side of the field. They are overloading the left side of the field, which is his strong side to roll to if he has to roll, and they're giving him an answer in Quinshon Judkins. He's not taking the answer. He's not taking it. Not under too much pressure. He rolls, steps up. You can't even see Quay where when they gave him answers, he wasn't willing to take the answers. And I just want y'all to know that people are going to start to question Dillon Gabriel more once they watch the film. Before watching the film, I told y'all, I had Dillon Gabriel. I said, man, Dillon Gabriel is graded. I gave him a C. He just showed up. He participated. I started watching this last night. When I saw this, I was like, oh, no. I was like, oh, no. This is not it. I'm like, when they give him answers, he's not taking the answers. Let me show y'all something else. So I was telling y'all about the tight ends. So let's go Quinshon Judkins. And we're going to go play situation. I want to show Quinshon's running plays. Let's see. Inside the tackle. I want to show y'all how Harold Fannin Jr. gets blown up. Let's see. 17 plays. Let's find it here. Because I'm not ready to. This is not it. I'm not ready to get rid of David Njoku. Not confident in the red zone. Zero confidence in the red zone. Zero. This might be the play. I know it was on a Wildcat play. Just watching Harold Fannin. This is not it. Harold Fannin made a good block on this play. It's not that play. Harold Fannin gets just blown up on a Wildcat play. And I'm like, we going to need some help. It might be this play. Let's see. No, that's where he scored a touchdown. Man, I wish I could just search this for Wildcat so I could just show y'all. I just want to see the Wildcat plays. That's a touchdown. That's a touchdown. 42. Yeah, it was all offensive plays. I'm not gonna bore you out with digging through trying to find this. But it was the first Wildcat play. The first Wildcat play we run that didn't score a touchdown. Harold Fannin, he got blown up on the play, and that's part of the reason why I don't believe we have the ability to get rid of David Njoku, because Harold Fannin is a little undersized and he could be pushed around. He could be pushed around, especially in his blocking. When he is coming across the field like split zone and blocking and cracking back, he's good at that. When he has to just block a guy directly in front of him, there are some guys who are getting hands on him and just throwing him to the ground. So I'm not ready to give up on David Njoku. Not ready yet. Usually the quarterback shows are a little bit shorter. This one's been a decent length, about an hour and a half. So shout out to all of y'all for being here. This has been another great show as always. You know, it's always going to be a good show. Tuesdays we break down quarterbacks. Tomorrow's show, we got the NBA season starting tonight. So we might do a little bit of recap of the Cavs. It's 2 games on ESPN tonight. Might do a little bit of recap of that. We'll be doing more Cleveland Browns, more reactions, more look ahead to the New England Patriots. So we're going to be doing some things tomorrow. We're going to be at this thing. Make sure I keep it subscribers only. They got to be subscribed more than 5 minutes just so we can keep the flow of how we do things, keeping it how we can enjoy it. And, you know, people just not coming in, taking over and dominating the chat. So that's how we're going to keep it. Another great episode. I hope you all see what I'm seeing with Dillon Gabriel, where it is football related to why he's not the answer. It's football related. Everybody is making excuses for him. You can't make the excuses when they give you the answers. We showed y'all 2 touchdowns he could have easily had that he's not willing to throw the ball. So when you are not willing to throw the ball, you can't be quarterback. It's just that simple. The quarterback needs to have the ability to throw the ball, be willing to let the ball go. The quarterback also has to help out the play caller when the play caller gives you the right answer. When the play caller gives you the right answer, you got to execute the play. And we saw too many times he's not able to execute the play. He's sitting still in the pocket. He's not moving around. The athleticism they said he had, we're not seeing it. The accuracy they said he had, we're not seeing it. The processing that they said he had, we're not seeing it. So it's just too many things that we're not seeing from Dillon Gabriel. But it's been another great episode breaking down quarterbacks. We're going to do this thing on Tuesdays, break down these quarterbacks. We'll be back tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. Like, comment, subscribe. Let's keep growing this thing. I appreciate y'all for being here. And I'll see y'all tomorrow morning. Peace.